Assalamu alaikum, respected colleagues. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to speak with you all about a paper that I published for the journal. I'm also equally grateful to Dr. Nasir Wani and Mr. Barakzai and everybody else who has been involved in organizing this fantastic international conference on applied multidisciplinary research. My name is Leila Latif, and I'm here to just discuss very briefly the content of my paper, which was titled Fintech-Led Tax Justice. The theme of this paper was a tax theme related to redistribution using zakat for the socio-economic improvement of women. Now, just to give you a synopsis of my paper, it focused on a case study based on fieldwork that I conducted in Nairobi, Kenya. Kenya happens to be a Muslim minority state, which means that Islamic law is not applied, and the governance of zakat is also not administered by the Kenyan government. Instead, it is administered by Muslims themselves. So my argument in my paper was all about to what extent is it feasible to utilize mobile phone technology to be able to receive money and send that money to women who need it the most so that they're able to empower themselves, they're able to access the money that they need to help with their household improvement. So the argument that I was making in my paper centered around the concept of financial inclusion, right? So financial inclusion is where everybody is able to access money, irregardless of having documentations or irregardless of having a bank account. If you go to a bank where you don't have a bank account, you will not be able to borrow money from such a bank. So my argument was because of fintech has made it easy for every person to be able to access financial resources. And this financial inclusion has supported women's access to finance in itself. But how has this been, right? So my argument has been that fintech is simply where you have access to finance through technology. Either you can borrow money from your mobile phones, or you can go onto an internet site and open up a crowdsourcing platform and solicit for funds. My argument is that fintech means, right, that women have that possibility to be able to access funds, which also means that the state is able to tax fintech transactions. If the state can tax fintech transactions, then that tax that the state earns should be utilized to bridge the gap between gender wealth and income asymmetries. Usually that money should be given to women, especially those women who do not work, so that they're able to have enough financial security to take care of themselves and take care of their households. But that's the general understanding of my paper. And my paper went on to argue to say that fintech, indeed, the use of mobile phone technology or the use of having apps on the phone that allows you to send and receive money has the potential to redistribute crowdsourced accumulated wealth or income to mitigate gender inequality and help women meet their socio-economic needs. So this is the context in which the paper was written, preferably in the context of Kenya. Now, the argument here is that fintech is not just about borrowing money or sending money. It's not about the Kenyan government taxing it, but it's also how the Muslim community uses fintech to send zakat to those people who need it the most, the poorest of women who have households that they are leading, but without any income to support such women. Okay, and this is the concept of having fiscal pluralism. Now, if you're in a country like Kenya, where Sharia law is not the source of government law, we have other systems through which we are able to rely on Sharia to get the government to see the viability of Islamic law in helping improve people's living standards. This is the idea of fiscal pluralism. And this is the theory that was underpinning my paper, right? That fiscal pluralism is all about looking at different forms of taxes that are available under different social and legal systems, which can be used to contribute towards redistribution that resolves inequality. And this is the purpose of zakat. Zakat is taken from the wealthy people, given to the poor, so that the inequality gap is actually bridged. So my paper focused on this idea that are we able to use zakat or take zakat and then redistribute zakat through a mobile phone application to people who need it the most? Because sometimes in Kenya, there are houses where the husband does not allow the woman to go to work. And as a result of that, the woman is not able to meet her own socioeconomic needs. This is because the husband also is not working. So to help such women, it is easier to transfer the money directly to them through their phones. So this was the idea, the general idea in which I based my research. So I went to Nairobi and I did my field work. My methodological design was based around conducting face-to-face interviews with a faith-based organization in Nairobi that has been collecting zakat and then taking that zakat and giving it to anybody who needs it the most. So my argument for them was that, do you have a mobile app, for example, M-Pesa? That's the mobile app in Kenya through which people are able to send and receive money. And I asked the question whether the FBO, based on my structured, open-ended questionnaire, that whether they're able to use M-Pesa to transfer the money directly to women. And they said there's a potential for doing that. So we basically studied the case of a lady called Mama Riziki, right? And Mama Riziki happens to be a 36-year-old woman with 4 kids. She's a standard 5 or a year 5 dropout who was working as a cleaner in people's houses, and she was earning $2 a day. She had a husband who was basically a roadside charcoal stove maker, and his work was never guaranteed. So there would be times he would come home without any money. So Mama Riziki went to the faith-based organization and she listed herself as a zakat beneficiary because she needed the money. She was not able to support her family, her 4 children, and her husband. Now, instead of giving the money directly to Mama Riziki, the faith-based organization wanted to see how zakat can actually help improve her economic well-being. So they told her, we will give you the money, the zakat money, but we want to understand from you, what will you do with this money so that you don't come back to us every 2 months later asking for more money? What will you do with the money we give you so that you start earning money out of the money we give you, right? That is empowerment. So she said she's able to cook and she can make food and go sell it in the city center and earn money. So zakat money was used to buy her food substances, to buy her kitchen equipment and containers, and also get her a bicycle, I think, to be able to now start cooking the food and then taking it into the city center and selling it to people who wanted to buy that food. And now remember, Mama Riziki used to earn $2 a day cleaning people's houses. With the support of zakat that was sent directly to her to her phone, she had that autonomy and agency to use that money, cook her food, take her food into town, sell it, and every day she was earning between $8 to $15. This is a classic evidence-based research that shows how zakat was utilized to empower a woman who lived in a household of poverty with her 4 children and her husband, giving her enough to sustain herself. So from $2 all the way to $8 between $8 and $15 is what she was earning. It got to her point that she became so financially stable that she did not need any zakat help, and she was also able to involve her husband in supporting her in making the deliveries. So this is the idea, ladies and gentlemen, of the use of financial technology to empower women directly. Thank you for listening.